Hey there, one of the things that most of us teachers and coaches and salespeople hate is actually having to do discovery calls and sales calls. But of course, these two things are the lifeblood of our business. Now, up to this point, if you wanted to practice your sales techniques, there were two ways of doing it. One was that you got a mate to practice with you, and they were usually quite nice, and they wouldn't really, well, let's be blunt, they wouldn't criticize you as much as they should. Now, I came across this piece of software which is called Sell Me This Pen. Now, what is Sell Me This Pen? Well, Sell Me This Pen, if you've ever seen some of these sales trainings, one of the questions that they ask people to do, would be salespeople, is to sell me this pen. So to try and make this pen something unique that people will actually want to buy it from you. Now, this software is something, I'm going to say it, it's pretty fucking amazing. Why? Because what it does, and this is just one part of it, but what it does is it allows you to practice using AI technology to practice your discovery calls and your cold calling calls. Now, if you think about that, I always say to my clients, before you go into a meeting, don't use the meeting as the practice. Use the meeting as the real thing. But sometimes it's artificial to practice with other people. So, what does Sell Me This Pen do? Well, what it does is it is an AI sales coach. Now, I've only used one part of it, and I want to tell you the other parts of it. So if I go in here, one of the things that is amazing is this role play here. So here you see the scenario, and I can improve this scenario and I can tailor it for my needs. But the person I'm going to talk to is a HR manager, and they're thinking of purchasing my system, which helps non-native speakers make more impact when they speak. Now, it says my agenda is to uncover their pain points, their challenges, and elaborate the value proposition of my offering based on those challenges. The idea of the call is to move it to the next stage and book a demo or book a call with their actual team. So quite simply, you click on start the call, and it's a human voice which goes and it starts to bring you through the discovery call phase. Now, it's pretty good. Why? Because it actually does feedback what you've said to you. So if I say, well, this is what I do, they say, okay, well, it's very interesting that you use NLP. Can you explain more about it? And the more information you give it, the more information it starts to inquire about you. Now, when you're finished the call, it says you have 15 minutes for the call. If you go to meetings, it tells you how good you did. And you'll see how good or bad I've actually done on some of these role plays. So for example, with Lisa, the role play went for 7 minutes. The first thing it says to me is, I talked too much, which I know I always do. I talk too much. So it's telling me that the golden ratio there is 47% me, 50%, 57%, 53% the prospect. Now, these are the points it's looking for: setting the agenda, the pre-call research, identifying pain points, value proposition, and setting the next steps. Now, if I go in here, you'll see that I've actually got a little bit better on this. Okay, I'm still talking too much, but I did the value proposition, I've done the next steps, and I kind of set the agenda there. Now, what happens is, for example, if I'm too vague, and I can see my transcript here, if I'm too vague, the person is going to keep coming back and saying, Richard, I don't really understand how this is going to help me or my team. And then you have to go back and you have to fine tune your skills. So I'm quite confident now that my score is going to go up. My call score is going to go up with this test. So depending what plan you get, you can get 2 hours, you can get 10 hours, or you can get unlimited AI role play. And to me, so far, this is the most important, because I can even hear myself saying what I'm saying and saying, yeah, I'm on track there. I'm really explaining this well, because sometimes this is what happens. And we can't practice every single day with one of our friends or colleagues. So this tool will allow you to do it, and you can actually go in here, and I haven't really played with this, but you can customize the discovery call. Okay, and it gives you all of the customization here. Now, I've seen people talk about it only has chat GP3 3.5. I have found it really, really good in my testing, and I do feel more confident now when I'm going to do a sales call. So that's the first thing it does. The second thing that it does, which I haven't tried yet, is it will actually give you live coaching when you're on a sales call. So if you're on a Google Meet, or if you are on a Zoom, but it's Zoom, web-based Zoom that you have to join the call, it will actually coach you while you are on the call. So it will come up with a little sidebar that'll be saying you're talking too much, you're talking too little, you need to explain this more. And how does it do that? Well, it does it. The only thing is you have to put on automatic captions, which to me, I guess I'm lucky because with my audience, they would be non-native speakers. So I can say, well, I want to put on automatic captions just to make sure that there's no communication issues. But some people might think, why are they putting on automatic captions there? Now, the developers have said that they are doing that because a lot of the times people don't like bots entering into the Zoom. I would tend to think that bots entering into the Zoom might be more usual now, that people would actually know that a bot is entering into the Zoom. I think there's other ways that they could do this, because I have used something called Poised, which actually does coaching for you as well. So I think there may be a solution there that maybe they will come up with. But overall, in my role play so far, I haven't even done cold calling because I hate cold calling, but I'm going to be practicing it with this. It's definitely made me think more when I'm actually doing a call, because I'm thinking, okay, I need to make sure that I set the agenda. I need to make sure that I explain my product offering well, and I need to move it to the next steps. And if you say anything, or if you pronounce the person's name incorrectly, they actually say, oh, sorry, my name is Bruce, instead of if I say Bras, which is really good. And if the AI doesn't understand your offering, or you haven't explained it clearly enough, it keeps coming back and saying, well, no, I don't think we should move to the next stage because I don't really understand how your offering is going to benefit me. So, for example, I would have said, well, after the class, each person will actually reflect on their progress. Well, I don't really understand how that's going to help my team. So it keeps pushing you to ensure that you are doing better and better each time. Now, I've dropped my link to the AppSumo deal. It's on an AppSumo deal. You can get this on tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. I think it is really, really useful, especially for language coaches, especially for teachers who, of course, were a little bit afraid of, well, what are we afraid of? We're afraid of selling because we're not sellers. So this is really going to help you practice your art. If you have any questions, just let me know below in the comments.